going on? This is the House of Boom podcast. I'm your host, Eric Boom Salvery. Okay, boom. Reaching over shit today. We changed up the studio a little bit, but it's all good. We in the building. Football season has, for the most part, come to an end. We still got some playoff games. We still got the Super Bowl run, national championship, a whole bunch of stuff going on. But, the thing that fuels all the games that we watch, the lifeblood of football is, you want to say, high school football. High school football, most people have a chance to play, and then that percentage just drops down, and that percentage goes to college, and then that percentage gets even smaller, and that percentage goes on to play in the NFL. The one thing we all have in common is coaching. Some of us have had good coaches. Some of us have had terrible coaches. Whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? We all can share an experience about coaching, you know what I mean? A good coach is a lifeblood of a high school football team. They can make the impossible possible. They winning is fun, right? You know what I mean? But you can't learn how to win unless it's a coordinated effort, and you can't have a coordinated effort if you don't have somebody to teach you how to do that. You know what I mean? So, tonight, interesting. I don't want to say sad, but I don't even want to put the term unfortunate on it, but just a different type of story, one that was unexpected. That's the word I'm looking for. Came about with the coaching staff at St. Thomas Aquinas School in Middlesex County, Edison, Metuchen-ish, I want to say. And staff was unceremoniously let go. Now, nobody knows why. But, the good thing about networking and just having people in your corner, knowing people for years and years and years, is that I had a good friend, a brother, former teammate, former opponent. We're going to go back. We was opponents. then we networked, and then we became teammates. And did I ever get a haircut from you? I don't think I got a haircut from you yet. But, you know what I mean? Just a good brother, neighborhood guy. Somebody who cares about the game, somebody who cares about the knowledge of the game, somebody who cares to give back to kids. He's been doing it from Pop Warner on up, sacrifices his own time to make sure that these kids understand what good coaching is. And so, without further ado, I got Brother Burger in the house. Everybody know Burger. Everybody know Burger. Burger in the house. What's going on?
What's up, bro? How you?
I'm chilling, man.
All right.
Happy to have you here.
Yes, sir.
I thank you for your patience and working through us. We're transparent. We don't got to hide, cute stuff and stuff like that. Thank you for working with us through technical difficulties. Trying something new. But you in the building tonight to talk about a lot. Not just the situation at hand, but what coaching is. We had a good pre-conversation. But I don't even know where to start. Let's start with you. What do you desire? What do you see? Who influenced you in regards to a good coach?
So, background on me is, I played football at Piscataway High School. Was coached under some Hall of Fame coaches. Actually, was able to win a state championship in 2003. Was coached by Coach Dan Higgins, he was the defensive coordinator at the time, or defensive line coach. He's now the head coach. Got the most championships in Piscataway history. But
man, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, my mentor there was Coach Larry Lester, who's a Hall of Fame coach to anybody who knows him. This guy's like a second father to most players that play under him. Teaches the game from the very basics all the way up, and he's one of those coaches that. Once he comes into your life or you come into his, you're there for good, regardless of football. If it's still going, if it's not, I try to model myself after that. Another coach who I could say that I would say that kind of influenced me was my current coach that I was coaching under, Coach Holman, Tarig Holman. He's been at a couple places. He's well known. He's the head of the Black Coaches Association of New Jersey as well.
Wow.
He was, up until recently, the head coach of St. Thomas Aquinas. Coach Holman's a very good guy. I mean, as soon as I met him, we clicked, and he offered me a job. He's been a good friend, a good mentor. He doesn't keep anything away from his assistant coaches as far as helping them develop. So I would say those three guys are the most impactful and influential coaches that I've had.
Impact, influential. What made you want to start coaching?
So, we was talking about it earlier. We actually played semi-pro together.
Right.
And I got hurt one season, pretty early in the season. It was a serious injury, a knee injury, and I couldn't really come back. And so I felt like I needed to have a role for the team, even though I wasn't on the field. I needed a role. Like, what could I do to still help the team? And I started working with the coaches. At first it becomes like, working with your position. And then as you're on the sideline, it's unique because you become more selfless when you're on the sideline because you can't do anything physically. You know what I mean? You could cheer your guys on and clap your hands, yell defense, yell offense, whatever the case may be. But what can you do to help prepare those guys? And so that's really when the love for coaching started, when I was injured and I started kind of playing the coach's ear, the head coach ear, Coach Gene. You know what I mean? He's not really an X and O guy. He's more of a motivator. Mm-hmm. And so I brought my X's and O to him, started, 2 eyes is better than 1 and 4 eyes is better than 2. So I'm looking at things and giving him insight and then figuring out ways to kind of bring those things to life so the guys on the field could understand it. And pretty much that's where coaching began for me.
That's what's up. Shout out to Coach Gene.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Shout out to Coach Gene. Before I knew Coach Prime didn't curse, I found out Coach Gene. I don't give a ginger snap about he will find an acronym not to curse. Yeah. You know what I mean, just to get you hyped. And it's crazy because he's the original OG. He played quarterback my first year. Shout out to the Warriors. You know what I mean. The hardest. I don't care what you say. You can't tell me nothing. We had the baddest squad around.
Hard hitters. All young guys too.
Hard hitters. Good times. All that good stuff. And a lot of people, they sleep on semi-pro. But if you get enough dudes around you, I'm telling you, it's a different experience. Like, I remember that first year, I thought I played at the U. Yeah. In regards to in regards to semi-pro.
It wasn't 37U back then.
Yeah.
It was real semi-pro.
It was real semi-pro. You worked your way up. You've helped mentor kids. You coach for some time. And we're going to cut right through the cheese. You were coaching at St. Thomas Aquinas, up-and-coming program. We talked about it off camera. Like, you were one of the magnets that made me start paying attention to that program. Knowing, somebody like Coach Shannon, having his son, one of the people that, I think he was my last year, he was like the freshman coach and stuff like that. So I paid attention to him. His sons all played football. I know some other kids that I tried to send over your way because I knew what type of character you had, what type of coach you could be. And I know you've been in the game for a hot minute. But, what happened? That's just really what I want to get to. If you can talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. I could talk about everything. So unbeknownst to me, I get a call on Friday from the head coach, and he says, I was actually cutting hair. I was in the shop, and I didn't pick up the original call. So he texts me. He says, hey, call me back. It's important. So I finished what I'm doing, and because he says it's important, I took like a little break. I went in my car, and I call him back. I'm like, yo, what up? What's good, coach? He was like, yo, I got to tell you something. I was like, what's up? You good? He was like, yo, they're letting me go. They're firing me. I said, man, get out of here, man. Stop playing with me. He was like, nah, man, I'm serious. He said the AD, came to me and told me he's firing me. He's got to let me go. And I was like, for what? Like, what are you, like, we were just talking as coaches about what we got planned for next season, and we're trying to set up games with bigger opponents and this, that, and the third. And he's pretty much telling me, he's like, they didn't really give me an explanation. You know what I mean? He's like, they're just telling me I'm let go.
That's wild.
So I'm like, well, did you talk to the president? Did you talk to anybody in charge? He says, no, they don't want to meet with me. So I'm like, so they just firing you and they're not meeting with you or nothing like that? That's crazy. I'm like, I didn't get a phone call or nothing. Like, you know what I mean? What about us? He's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, yo, man, let me call you after work. So I'm a little messed up, but, I'm also thinking that this is like a decision that was made real quick. It's nothing withstanding. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I didn't get a phone call from the AD. Nobody called me or emailed me, nothing. And so now I'm going on about my day, and my phone is going crazy. People are texting me like, yo, Berg, you okay? You good? Yo, what's up? Yo, what happened? And I'm like, what is everybody talking about? So then I get another text message from a former coach that I coach with, and he sends me an article on Twitter that says St. Thomas Aquinas has dismissed Coach Tarig Holman and his whole staff. So I'm like, wait a minute. How you dismissing the whole staff and you didn't even tell us? How am I finding out through a Twitter article? Mm. And the writer of the article said that he reached out to the president, the principal, the AD, and this is all they had to say. No further details or details to come or whatever. So I'm like, well, how unprofessional is this? You know what I mean? How do you fire not only the head coach, but the assistants, and you don't tell them? You don't have a meeting. As to my knowledge, I thought we were doing a good job. You know what I mean?
Can you talk about your record?
So my first year getting there, we took over for Coach Brian Meany, who suddenly had passed. And they were looking for a coach. Coach Holman got the job, assembled the staff, and we came in that next season. We didn't know the kids. None of the coaches really knew each other. We had to bond, come together. That season, we went 9-2.
Wow.
We lost the first game to Timber Creek, which is a powerhouse in New Jersey. Anybody who knows, Timber Creek is a powerhouse in South Jersey. We ended up losing that game by like 1 point. Mm-hmm. And then we rang off 8 wins in a row. Got to the playoffs. We played Holy Spirit down in Holy Spirit. They spanked us, but Holy Spirit was a really good team. My second year, we went undefeated going into the playoffs.
Wow.
Didn't lose a game. And this is our second year. Mind you, we took over. We got kids left over from the old staff. We went undefeated.
So 19-2.
Okay. Then we get into the playoffs, and we played DePaul, which everybody knows who DePaul is. Now, going into that game, we're little old St. Thomas. Nobody knows who we are. We're in the middle of New Jersey. Nobody's ever really heard of our program. DePaul is, at the time, they got Plaxico Burris' son playing for them. They got arguably the best running back in New Jersey playing for them. They got 2 Ohio State commits. They got a Michigan commit on the line. They got all kinds of D1 players all over. We end up losing that game by 3 points.
Wow.
And it was a home game for us. So we were the higher seed because we were undefeated. We lose that game by 3. At the end of that game, the head coach from DePaul is shaking our hands and saying, yo, y'all are coming.
So you know 19-3.
19-3.
Okay.
Then this year, we bumped our schedule up. We added some stronger teams. Our first game was in Delaware against a team called Mount St. Joseph's from Maryland. So now we're playing out-of-state competition. And this team from Maryland is a perennial. They've won multiple championships. They're ranked in Maryland. We lose to them by 4 points in Delaware. Then we start winning a bunch of games. Then we play Paramus Catholic, who everybody knows Paramus Catholic, Rashawn Gary, Jabril Peppers, powerhouse, Big North program. At that time, 3 games prior to that, one of our running backs suddenly passed out on the field.
Okay.
It was, life-threatening, shock to the whole team, messed up all the kids because, he was, for a minute, like, unresponsive. He was breathing, but for a minute he was unresponsive. We had to rush him to the hospital. Mm-hmm. The game got stopped. We ended up winning because at the time it stopped, we were up by, like, I think 11 or 15 points or something like that. So they gave us the win. And then after that, that same kid, his father, who's a coach on the team, had to get rushed to the hospital. He was having some issues. Mm-hmm. So as a team, we were super distraught. Mm-hmm. We didn't have one of our coaches and one of our starters. We end up losing to Paramus Catholic in overtime by 2, by 1. Right?
That's the Paladins, right?
Yeah.
They just lost their coach?
No, he's still there. Coach Russo's still there.
Okay.
Then we go off and win the rest of our games. We get to the playoffs, and we play St. Mary's in the first round at home. Mm-hmm. We beat them 60-7. Mm. This is the first playoff win for St. Thomas in over 25 years.
Wow.
Packed house. It made the news, everything. I mean, we were beating them like 40-0 in the first quarter. Mm. Went crazy. So the next round, we go down to Holy Spirit again. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's a slugfest. We're going back and forth. Great game. Mm. We end up losing the game by, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 points.
Okay.
We actually scored to win the game, but they said that our receiver wasn't set on the line of scrimmage. Okay. And so then we ran out of time. But anyway, we're on a upward trajectory.
So your record right now, up until this release from the coaching staff is what?
Let's see what. So you get about. The first year we were 9-2, so that's 11 games. The second year, 10-1. It's another 11 games, so that's what. 19-3. 19-3, and then the next year we were 8-3.
Okay.
So what are we doing? My math ain't that good.
No, it's all good. We both went to junior college, right?
Yeah. But so at the time we're in the green.
Right.
We're high in the
green.
We got about 27 wins and 5 losses, maybe 6 losses.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're way above 500.
Right.
Not only that, but we were getting major D1 looks. Mm. We got a Syracuse offers. 2 of our kids got a Syracuse offer. We got a Boston College offer. Mm. We got multiple FCS offers. Mm. We got Penn State coming, Rutgers coming. Mm. They're looking at guys. We're starting to get looks from in the middle of the country as well. So we're picking up, bro.
You guys are the opposite of Bishop Sycamore.
Total opposite.
Total opposite of Bishop Sycamore, and I say that at behest of this is a real program being built, not some BS. You're going around, you're making a name for yourself, beating people right and left, really just reviving that Central Jersey vibe that you and I used to play in. That GMC Red Division. We will always, in my opinion, will always be one of the tougher divisions in New Jersey. Back when we were in high school and so on and so forth. But that being said, with no cause, with no, I don't know, reason, what is going through your mind right now? As a coach, as somebody who's invested in kids, as somebody who is building something. That's like somebody saying, all right, well, you built the foundation of this house. All right, now we're going to stop your construction company. We just want you to stop. Talk about it.
So here's the other thing you got to remember, right? Mm-hmm. Because before you win a championship, the goal is, first you start off, you want to be 1-0. Mm-hmm. As you start winning more games, then the next goal is to win your division. Mm. We've won our division 4 years in a row. Mm. All right? You talk about the GMC. There is no more GMC. They have the BCC. Mm. And in the BCC, we haven't lost a game in 4 years.
Wow.
We're the most winningest team in the BCC in the past, I don't know how many years. Matter of fact, we got a undefeated streak that would have been continuing on if we were still there. Like I said, we got 4 division championships, and so in my mind, when all this happens, I'm like flabbergasted. I'm like, what did we do to deserve to be fired? Right? And the other thing I'm thinking now, because my phone is going crazy, is without any explanation, the public now can make assumptions. So now people are calling me like, I'm getting text messages like, yo, bro, what did y'all do? Y'all must have did something crazy. And my character is one of the only things I have in this world. You know, as a man, you stand on your character, on your principles. I would never hurt any kids verbally, mentally, you know, of course not sexually or nothing like that. And I'm just thinking to myself, what is going through people's heads? What do they think of me now? You get what I'm saying? Imagine you have a job and all of a sudden you're let go from your job. And now people call you and say, yo, what happened? And your first thing you can say is, I didn't do anything. The person on the other line is going to think to themselves, like, come on, bro.
You're full of it.
Yeah, come on, bro. What are you talking about? You had to do something. And I'm really thinking to myself, we did nothing. Now, mind you, with all that being said, I'm a volunteer coach. All right. When Coach Holman asked me to come on staff, I said, you know what? I don't need to be paid. I got a business. I work. I just want to be there to help grow this thing, because he had a vision and I believed in it. And so for the past 3 years, I haven't received a dime from the school. Matter of fact, I've put my own money into things for this program, such as food for the kids, travel, camps, things of that nature. You know, and that's because I want to. The school didn't ask me to, so I'm not putting that on them. I'm just saying the level of commitment that me and my staff had. We had a large level of commitment to these kids. And what we wanted to do is exactly what you said. We wanted to bring that feel back to Central Jersey. You know, there's a lot of prestigious, let's just say, parochial schools up north. And in the middle of New Jersey, not so much. Parochial isn't looked at as powerhouse football in Central Jersey. It's looked at as a place that kids go because they can't play in other places. You know, you can't play at Sayreville or the Piscataway or Cherokee, so you go to parochial school. So it's thought of as smaller level football. And so what we wanted to do is to compete and eventually show the state that we're just as good as those schools up north. Now, it wasn't going to happen. We all know how football works, right? Like Colorado ain't going to be able to beat Alabama in 1 year.
Right.
But when you're able to get your feet nestled in and grow your program organically, now you can go up to those schools and compete with them. And it starts with competing. Not necessarily having to beat them right away, but competing. And so you look at our trajectory, right? Like we play a school like DePaul, who just won the championship this year. And we lost to them by 3. You look at a school that like Paramus Catholic, who has multiple Division I high-level 5-star athletes that came out of there. Like I said, Jabril Peppers, Rashawn Gary, they've won championships. They got a pedigree and a prestige. And we lose to them by 1. Now, the outside is saying, wow, they're doing something special over there. You know what I mean? And people are starting to buy in. Parents are saying, I want my kids to play there. You know what I mean? I like what Coach Holman's doing. I like what these coaches are bringing. And not only that, but if you ask our kids, they'll say the same thing. And so with that being said, all of that coming together, it was mind-boggling to think that we could be let go. And let's just say the school wanted to move in a different direction. At least give us the respect of having a meeting, a phone call, an email, something. Maybe we could agreed for the headline to be, you know, Coach Holman and staff choose to part ways, or Coach Holman and staff choose to resign. You know what I mean? Because how you leave one job matters on how you go to your next job. And that's in any field, not just in coaching. You know what I mean? There's a difference between putting on your resume you were fired and you resigned. There's a big difference.
you know, I like what you said in regards to that, coaching resume. Right now, you know, I wouldn't say, you said you didn't know, but then I had done some. I read the article that came out about your head coach, and for all things being what they are, there was something in there. I believe there was a line in there. Hopefully, I'm not misquoting it, about cultural differences. What do you think about that?
Man, so that culture word is a strong word, right? Because
shout out to the culture.
Culture brand. Shout out to Dev. I'm actually wearing his culture.
Yeah.
Big word. It says, it just says Colt,
right,
but on the back it says Chur.
Yeah.
So shout out to Dev and the culture brand. Another classmate of ours.
Yeah.
I actually want to read something, right? We talk about culture. And if you look at culture, right? Here's something that just something to read out about the culture that we set. So in the time that we've been at St. Thomas, right, here's just a brag sheet of what we've done. All right, we have a 36-7 record to be exact. 31 straight victories over 2.5 years versus all opponents in Middlesex, Somerset, and Union counties. 22 honor roll students, and this was last marking period. 25 all-division athletes, 14 all-county athletes, 13 all-conference athletes, 9 all-state athletes, 5 athletes named to the New Jersey Super 100, the Central Jersey Player of the Year, the Central Jersey Defensive Player of the Year, the Central Jersey Two-Way Player of the Year, 2023 and 2024 ranked in the state's top 10 football programs in New Jersey, 4-time BCC, that's the Big Central Conference, which used to be the GMC, Division Team of the Year, 18 seniors signed to Division I or Division II athletic scholarships, over $420,000 worth of academic and athletic scholarship money earned for our athletes, the New York Jets Head Coach of the Week, and the Central Jersey Head Coach Football of the Year. Those are the things we've done. So when you talk about culture, that's the culture we've set, right? I didn't say kids got arrested. I didn't say there was kids thrown out of school or kids kicked out.
Just doing anything nefarious.
Yeah, I didn't say, any problems or troubles with the law or anything like that, right? So when I say, when they tell us there's cultural differences, I'm thinking to myself, what could they mean, right? And our staff, and I don't want to make it a racial thing, but the only thing I could think of culture, our staff is majority black. Our team is majority black. The kids that are coming here now to play are majority black, but we never made it a black or white thing. This was a St. Thomas Aquinas football thing, a St. Thomas thing, a Catholic parochial school thing. And so I would like to know what cultural differences are there? And it doesn't make sense. And like I was saying, the issue now becomes to me that somebody's trying to either cover something up or they're scared to say what's really on their mind. And, to us, like growing up where we grow up and going through what we go through as a people, culture only means one thing to us, race. And I would sure hope to think it wasn't about that. St. Thomas gave us a great opportunity to come in and coach football. So I'm forever thankful for that. But I would just like to know what we did specifically wrong, because we would want to correct those things going forward, of course. And I would like to also, kill any rumors that are going around, because I'm hearing crazy things. So, again, culture, the word bothers me, but I would just like more clarity on what was meant by that.
it's a tough it's a tough thing, especially in this day and age, and just everything. This world that we live in is wild. You know what I mean? Is a decision has been made, right? And you know, in a sense, your kids, the kids that are in your program, they essentially are you know, I'll try to say this in a different way. You give a ton of coaching analogies, right? You know, life is gonna hit you, and then you got to hit it back and stuff like that. One question I would have is, what would you like to see done, if there's anything that can be done? And the second question is, what is the message to your kids?
Oh, it's a good question. What would I like to see done? Honestly, I think if you read that article that Coach Holman stated, it was powerful, very professional. And he said a couple things. He said that, I know that I'll be good. He said, I've been around this game long enough. You know, I've built some bridges that I can return over or cross over into new territory. He said, is same with my staff. You know, I'm well connected. People know me. Coaches have already reached out to me about coaching. So I think we will land on our feet, right? And so when you say what needs to be done, it's not, I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, they got to get their job back, because if people don't want you there, you shouldn't be there, right? And that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, they could make the ultimate decision. They want to move in a different direction, right? But I think clarity on what they mean, understanding on what they mean by culture, and understanding that when you do certain things, you cause certain reactions. Like you said, it's not just us as coaches that are affected. It's these kids. We built bonds with them. There's freshmen that are going to be juniors next year that we've had, you know what I mean, since their high school experience. All they know is us. You know what I mean? There's 8th graders that want to come in that have built bonds with us that want to be a part of this. There's seniors, there's kids that'll be seniors next year that we've had for 4 years that are now thinking to themselves, well, who's going to represent for me when coaches come in for recruiting? Who can I rely on? How can a new coach speak on my work ethic and my character if he's never seen me? What about my coaches? They can't, you know, who's going to be there to give me advice, right? So, and then parents, right, are affected. Parents are now saying to themselves, I don't know if I want to keep my kid here, right? But if your kid is a senior and you try to transfer them out of St. Thomas Aquinas, they're going to have to sit. So now they're placed with a tough decision because they may not want to be there anymore. Some people came here for the culture that we set, right?
How about that?
Some people came here for the men that we are, the leaders that we are, right? And now as a coach, if you say, hey, well, Coach Berg, you could come back, but we want to move on from Coach Holman. We spoke about this earlier.
Right.
I don't want to go into battle without my captain. So if he's gone, I don't want to be there. You know what I mean? And quintessentially, if you don't want him, you don't want me, because I'm an extension of him. So I think we're owed an explanation. I think we're owed a public article or statement to either clarify or exonerate the rumors that are going around. And like I said, it's not a hate thing for St. Thomas. And, you know, I don't need to speak their name again. I'm not going to be like, you know, like everybody get out of that. No, I'm not. Listen, y'all chose to move in a direction, that's fine. Right? But you have to be professional. If you like you want us to be professional, you as well have to be professional. And with that being said, I've never even met the president. We got a new president. He hasn't come to the coach's office to shake our hands.
Wow.
And so it's like you fire some guys you never even met. You don't know my character, dude. You don't know, the cloth I'm cut from. You don't know what I've done for this program. You know what I mean? I'm a selfless guy. Like I told you, in 4 years, I haven't received $1. But I put my own money in to make sure kids eat. I buy them food before the game every Friday because that's the culture we set. We eat together. We're going to go to war together. We're going to eat together, right? We've bought them shirts out of our own money, coaches, because we want to look uniform. That's the culture. That's the kind of culture we set. We've taken them on college visits, right? And we've ate together. We've rode buses together. I paid for buses for us to travel to a playoff game so we could be comfortable, right? Because I want them to understand the process. This past season was an amazing season. And I say that because I personally went through some things in life in the past 4 years. And this particular year, my mother passed.
God bless.
Thank you. And one of the only things that got me through that was coaching football, being around my boys. And they were there for me. Every single one of those kids text me, yo, coach, I'm with you. You need anything, holler at me. Parents sending me letters. Kids giving me hugs. It's all right. Yo, Coach Berg, whenever you need to come back. You know what I mean? And then early in the year, we did a sleepaway camp at Lycoming College. And I mean, we bonded. We went up there and, it was like college.
Yeah.
5 a.m. wake up, 6 a.m. lift, 7:30 breakfast. You know what I mean? Then meetings at 9 o'clock, practice at 10, come home, shower, lunch at 12, go get out the dorms. We back at practice till 7, and then we got a little bit of time in the pool, and then it's lights out. We did that for like 4 days.
That stuff like that. They don't even do it like that.
And bro, let me tell you something. And it was my girlfriend's mother's birthday. And we was all going to Chicago that Friday. So I'm up there for 4 days, right, in Pennsylvania, about 3 hours away, not being paid $1, packed my truck up, drove back. I didn't drive on a bus because I knew I had to get down to Chicago and hop the flight. I did that for the team. This is the culture we set. Selfless, right? Being a team player, being a model citizen, right? These are the things we set in the culture. And like I said, if the president or the principal met me and checked my track record, how much of a community man I am, there's no way this guy would say, no, this is a cultural thing, right? I volunteer my time. And I let the kids know they know those things, and that's an important thing. And I was getting ready to do a volunteer program with the kids, right? And so, like I said, going back to your ultimate point, man, it's not a matter of how do you right the wrong or whatever the case may be. It's about just being professional. And if somehow they come out and they make this thing professional, then we can part ways and be good about it. You know what I mean? Some things are for a season, some things are for a reason. And I feel like it was a great season with St. Thomas Aquinas. I think we proved a lot. Like you was telling me off camera, like, yo, man, y'all started making noise. I started really following you guys. And so I think we've made a significant impact.
Them STA notifications always come up on my social media, so I'm always like looking at, like I said, it seemed like not only you had a lot of families that like were investing in what you guys were doing. One of my coaches, like I said, or somebody I knew who had coached for years, had sent his son over there. I'm not saying no names, but I knew some kids that I was trying to send over there that are like that. You know what I mean? Not just, I'm not no disrespect to nobody else, but some kids that were really like that. What's your message for the kids?
My message for the kids is, let me think about that, man. My message for the kids is, number one, I always got your back. My number didn't change. Any help you need with college recruitment, I'm still here. Any training you need to do, can always contact me. Any advice for any decisions you need to make, if you want a little advice or you want to just vent, you can always come to me. That's who I am. Regardless of what team I'm coaching for, whatever the case may be. That's who I am first and foremost as a man. My next thing is don't make any sudden decisions. Consult with your family, consult with those that are close around you, and don't make decisions when you're in your feelings. Those are, as people, when we make decisions when we're in our feelings, they end up being bad decisions or not thought out well, right? You are first a student and then you are an athlete. So the most important thing is to continue with your grades. The good thing about this is it isn't football season right now. So you could take a breath and exhale. All right? But ultimately do what's best for you and your family. Don't let anybody influence you into anything that you don't want to do. Do what's best for you and your family. And keep training, keep working hard. Remember the values and the culture that we set with you. And continue to work hard. And God works in mysterious ways. When one door closes, another one opens. It being a parochial school, we believe in God. And so I feel confident to say that God doesn't make mistakes. Everything was for a reason. And your best season is yet to come. And that's to all the kids that I coach.
What, in your time at STA, St. Thomas, what's your favorite, what is that moment that stands out the most outstanding moment, game, whatever, what was that moment?
Let me think here.
I know there's plenty, but.
Yeah, there were some classic games we played in. Man. I gotta give. There's probably more than one.
Oh yeah.
One of them that I could think of was the DePaul game. So let me set the scene for you. We're St. Thomas Aquinas, small school, grass field, bleachers old, lights old, PA system old, jerseys old. You know what I mean? Helmets chipped. And we're playing DePaul Catholic. Pretty jerseys. They look like Michigan State. They come in on tour buses. They got the tents up. They got the medical. They got their fans rolling, all DePaul'd out, this, that, and the third. I mean, they telling us they about to beat the brakes off us. All the sports reporters got us losing by like 3 touchdowns. We got nobody to stop their running back. We got nobody to stop their wide receiver that's going to Ohio State. Our receiver ain't going to make any plays because they got a DB going to Ohio State. Plaxico Burris' son is on the team. And we come out, in pregame, and I ain't going to hold you. DePaul is a great program. I mean, strength and conditioning. I mean, just their social media presence, their prestige. They look like a little college. They're out there warming up. They got the Pooh Shiesty mask on. Dudes is Aki. They big. They got plenty of coaches. You know what I mean? Some of their coaches were great high school players that I remember. And we had a kid on our team named Christian Magliacano. He transferred to us from St. Joe's Metuchen. He's currently at Colgate playing Division I football.
Dope.
Great player. I know he'll probably end up at a bigger school, especially with the way the transfer portal's working. He was actually player of the year, defensive player of the year that year.
Wow.
All-state linebacker. He's a menace. And this guy is like clapping his hands. He's got the eye paint, white kid, got the eye paint, you know what I mean? Got the haircut. You know what I mean? He's clapping his hands, he's smiling, he's like, I love this. And he's getting us so hyped. And I'm like, yo, we about to bang tonight. And I remember, man, we come out in the first quarter and we're moving the rock. You know what I mean? Like we kind of got them stung. I think we gave the ball to our running back, Elijah, who's another. He just got a scholarship to New Haven, running back, 4.2 student, culture again. He's moving the rock. We give it to our freshman running back who's still on the team now, Chu Odo, who's got a Syracuse offer, another 4.0 student, culture. And he's getting busy as a freshman. And we get down there and, they stop us. We go to kick a field goal. We miss it. And I could hear the life go out the stadium because they're like, man, DePaul getting the ball. And, bro, we banged out. They didn't score. You know what I mean? We get the ball back. We end up scoring. I think going into halftime, we were up. If I'm not mistaken, I think 10-7. We end up coming down on the second drive, kicking a field goal, and then we scored a touchdown. And, man, ultimately we lost that game. But I think our program took a tremendous step. I mean, to get credit from those guys. I mean, our guys were crying, and you know how it goes in football. You lose a big game, but I mean, the state was put on notice that St. Thomas Aquinas is a real team. So that was a magnificent moment. Something you could take from a loss was that we don't back down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other game I could remember that was significant would be, oh man,
I remember we had a game against y'all. Keep going back, Piscataway, Perth Amboy. My junior year, that would have been freshman year because I was a year ahead of you.
No, that was
sophomore year. And y'all played us at home, and we had y'all on the rope, 7-7. And that motherfucking Larry Lester, they put him back up. He was the punter.
Larry's a problem.
And we were like, all right, we got these guys on the rope. Everybody's rocking, 7-7, and that motherfucker pulled the punt down, and it wasn't planned. It was, I don't know if the ball went too high or whatever. He pulled that thing down. First off, he's like he was the baddest, one of the baddest players in the state.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, why is this dude? Nobody ever think like, why is this dude back punting the ball? Whatever the case may be, he pulled that thing down and ran that thing in for a touchdown. And I don't know if he ran it for a touchdown, but he definitely got the first down. It was either a touchdown or a first down, but I'm more leaning towards touchdown. And I mean, it was a fight. And I remember those type of games because I remember we, for all that, Perth Amboy is, we doing the line, the sportsmanship, and we shaking hands. And you guys were like, we gonna see y'all again. This was like second, third game of the season. And
I got a funny story about that game too. I don't know if you remember.
The respect was there.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, we doing something. But yeah. So I understand that thing. But go ahead and tell me your story.
So funny story about that game. That was my sophomore year. So, not really on varsity, but you get on special teams.
Right.
I don't know if you remember, but we kicked the ball off, and we got the ball first.
Okay.
And we kicked it off.
Okay.
We went for an onside kick.
Okay.
And this is my actual first time getting to see you in person.
Right.
I didn't introduce myself, but I never forget a face. Let me see if you remember this. So we kick an onside kick. Now our strategy on onside, because I was a shorter guy, a little smaller, but I could run, right? The strategy was I had like some big guys that was going to go down there and smack the first dude from Perth Amboy. And I was supposed to get it off the third bounce. Jump up and get it and just cradle in the air and come down with it. Okay. So I forgot who it was. It might have been Brian Bishop. He was a fullback at the time. He was on my side and somebody else. It was another sophomore. And they ran down and they hit the same guy. There was one guy unblocked. I went to get the ball and I kind of alligator armed because I saw somebody coming. It was actually, I want to say it was you that hit me in the air. I don't know if you remember that. If that
it was something like that.
I do remember like looking at your face, and I remember like just that dreadful like walk to the sideline after that because everybody was like, "Damn, Berg, like yo, come on, you scared?" Like, and
you know what it is, revisionist history. Y'all used to come out hype.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I remember more my senior year. Because my senior year we played y'all that the September 11th game.
Yeah.
And y'all used to come out hype. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all had some big jokers over there. Yeah. It wasn't like y'all had like a D3, side, for high school. You like, yo, these dudes is going D1.
Yeah.
And so it probably happened, but it was probably because I was mad because people sometimes, some people was just intimidated, and I just had to be like, you know what I mean? But them kickoff, yeah, because I was always like the special teams. That was one thing that I was good at. I wish I was like, damn, I could have, if I was like smart, like as I am now, like had the knowledge that I have football wise, I would have just focused on special teams in college.
Yeah, man.
I just would have just like, I just want to play special teams coach and just punt return, punt block, all that stuff.
That's how you make a team, man.
Right.
That's how you make your name for yourself.
Right.
That's the era we came up in.
Right.
You know what I mean? You make a name for yourself on special teams.
Right.
You don't just keep pouting and saying, "Oh, I need the ball. Like, put me in. Like, I know I'm better than him." No.
Right.
Show me you better.
Right.
If you're a running back, get back there on kick return.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're a linebacker, get your butt on kickoff. Go down there and smack somebody. If you like a wide receiver or something, you know what I mean? Get down there on the edge, squeeze and make a tackle, or you might be on punt return or whatever it is, or you a gunner.
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying?
Go get it.
Or you playing corner on the gunners, whatever you doing, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's how you get your reps. And the older guys is like, yo, I rock with him. Like, yo, coach, get him some reps. Mm. There was a rite of passage back then. Mm. You know what I mean? You had to earn your keep. It's a different day nowadays with social media and all these trainers and training and all of that. So I get it. I'm not gonna be the old guy that's hating, but we had a protocol or like a pecking order, and you had to come through certain doors to get into certain rooms.
Earlier, before we jumped on, you gave a evolutionary thing of coaching, what coaching is, from the stages of coaching. Can you break that down again? Because I actually thought that was quite genius.
So, I think the cycle, I would call it like the cycle of life in coaching. Mm-hmm. I think when you first come into coaching, and I kind of got this from Coach Holman too, but I also take bits and pieces of it from what I seen being with Coach Higgins when he was just a D-line coach, and I was playing for Piscataway, and then being around him when he was a head coach, and now I'm coaching alongside of him. So I think the cycle of coaching goes a little bit like when you first get in there, man, you like full of energy. You want to be that young coach that's running around with the kids and you're doing the drills with them and spending time with them. And then I think you transition then to the coach that's just cool with the kids. They understand you. You speak their language. Maybe the older coaches don't really get what's going on with them. And then you're kind of that in-betweener coach, you know what I mean, where you're not really young, but you're not really old. You're not really cool, but you're not really outdated. And the guys just feel like, yeah, I could play with you, still got some swag. Coach knows what he's doing. I seen him do it. And then I think you get to that point where you're like an older coach and you're kind of setting your ways. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you're outdated yet, but you're setting your ways. You might be the guy that's like, hey, man, we only wearing black socks. Hey, man, we line up on the 50 whole hands. Hey, man, we coming out to this, you know what I mean, helmets on when we doing this, da-da-da-da. And then I think at the end of your career, you become that outdated coach where it's not really about you and what you want anymore. It's about you getting these assistants that can now kind of take what you do and translate it to the young guys. And somewhere in the middle, you know what I'm saying? When you're that older coach, you're important because you're the figurehead, but your assistants are damn near more important than you because they're the ones who keep the program full of life. And so I think that's the cycle of coaching. I think I've witnessed that being on staffs. And I saw, like I said, I've seen Coach Higgins bring in younger coaches like myself, like my cousin T. Fox, and it's worked wonders. I've seen him bring in former players a year after they're done playing and just bring them on like as volunteers and assistants. Same thing with Coach Holman. Now, he's in that middle stage. He's not like outdated, but he's still like got that swag. You know, he like to wear Jordan and Nike, so the kids like that. But I also see him saying to himself, yo, I got to get a little younger here. Or I got to bring some guys that got a little bit more time. You know, he's a family man. So he's bringing in guys that might be single coaches, you know, because that's important. Because you're going to need those coaches that can spend outside hours outside of coaching with these kids. You know what I mean? Those mentor hours. Those, you know, just going out to eat hours. Those throwing the football around hours. Something that you may not be able to do having 20 plus years in, having a family of 5, you know, living outside of your coaching area. You know what I mean? Maybe being retired or not working at this, not necessarily working in this school that you coach at. So that, to me, that's how I look at it. And you know, being on Coach Holman's staff, I kind of see things and give coaches a little bit more respect, because as I transition, I'm giving more respect to the older coaches. Whereas when I was younger, I was like, man, these jokers don't want to do nothing new. They so plain Jane. And it's like, I get it now. You know, that was my purpose.
Are there any aspirations to maybe take it up another level, college, you know, maybe some type of NFL internship or anything like that? And if so, what kind of coach would those coaches be getting in Coach Berger?
So I think coaching on the next level, like position coaching, is not something I want to do. I think I want to get into either operations, team management, or recruiting. I think my spirit, my life, my energy, my personality is, I would be a great recruiter, and I would love to do it for Rutgers. And what they would be getting is a guy who can speak the language of the kids, a guy that can make people feel comfortable, a guy that's going to go out and find kids that fit what the program needs. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like, you know, like I know, you know a little bit about you. You walked on the Rutgers, so you were around a bunch of Division I athletes. Played at Lackawanna Junior College, so you were around D3 to D1 athletes. One thing you know, like I know, is coaches try to get the best player. Not necessarily the best player for them, but the best player. And sometimes a 5-star isn't going to give you what a 3-star would give you, because he fits your program better. So an example of that is, like, let's say there's a kid in Texas. Let's say he's the #1 wide receiver in the country. He's talented. Let's say he's 6'4", he runs a 4.4. You know, he's had like 2 1,000-yard receiving seasons in high school. He's a monster. Everybody in the country wants him. But does that kid fit your program? I'm not saying now I want you to hear me closely. Does that kid fit your program? I'm not saying to you, will that kid catch passes? I'm not saying to you, will that kid score touchdowns? I'm not saying to you, is that kid gonna get drafted? I'm saying, does that kid fit your program? So what I'm really saying is, does that kid want to win? Or does that kid want stats? Is that kid a team player, or is he a me guy? Is that kid going to be a leader in the locker room, or is he going to be a cancer in the locker room? Is that kid coachable, or is he uncoachable? And every team is different. You know what I'm saying? What Rutgers needs is not what Colorado needs. What Shiano wants in a player isn't what Coach Prime may want in a player. And some things Coach Prime may put up with, Coach Shiano may not put up with. And some things Coach Shiano's willing to develop, Coach Prime don't got time to develop. And so you need specific guys who are going to recruit guys that fit your program. So he may not be a 5-star, but he's a 3-star that's going to give you 5-star effort. You may get a 5-star that's going to give you no star effort, right? And no offense to this guy, but look at George Pickens right now. Hell of an athlete for the Steelers. Hell of a football player. But where's his effort? Where's his intensity? Where's his hard work? Where's his work ethic? The guy's walking on the field. The guy is cursing out teammates. He's trying to fight other players all the time. So if you don't have the staff that can develop a guy like that, he wasn't the guy for you. But you just went and got the best guy on the board, and look where it gets you. And so that's what you get when you get me. You get a guy who's truthful, who's going to look you in your eye and find the right person for you. He's going to give you a guy who's got integrity, because those are the principles that I live on. And so like I'm saying, like, yeah, I think a future for me would definitely be in recruiting or operations. I love making a plan come together. You know what I mean? I love developing and making a plan and come together. I love representing a team. I love accenting a team. I love telling people why our team is good, why we fit your kids. And so I would love to do it. Right now, it's not really in cards. I got to probably finish my degree. And me being, at the age I am, an adult, I don't know if I could take such a heavy pay cut. As you know, the coaching world works. They bring you in as probably some type of GA or assistant that's making, pennies on the dollar, but they giving you free gear. So people are like, oh man, this is great. I get to travel with the team. I get some Nike sneakers.
Right.
But that more fits a 21-year-old kid that's fresh out of college. Me, I need something substantial. I could take a pay cut, but I couldn't get cut to the point, I have a family. You know what I mean? I have not just my future to worry about, but theirs. And I need to protect and provide. And financially, it's important. I got bills to pay. My girlfriend, who's great, she's always encouraging me, and God willing, we'll put our plan together. And if it's meant to be, it'll be. Like I said, I believe in God, and I know He knows what I want. He knows I'm faithful. He knows how hard I work. And if it's in His cards for me, it'll happen. If not, I'll continue to keep making a local impact because it's just as important to me. You know what I mean? Seeing these kids develop.
That's what it is, man. Well, I want to thank you for pulling up and telling your side of the story.
Definitely, bro. What's your head coach's name again? I'm sorry. Tarig Holman.
Tarig Holman.
You got to get him on here, man. He's well spoken. I'll make that happen for you.
Coach, if you want to come on and really just voice what you got to say, I'm here for it. This is a platform for things of that nature. But I really just want to give a shout out, kudos to you, Burger, for just being who you are, always being who you
Thank
are. You ain't never. I'm not gonna say he ain't never changed. You've always evolved, but the core of the person you are is right, and it's led you into the right direction. It's led you to lead young men. You know what I mean? It's led you to have great accomplishments. It's you're multi-talented. But actually, before we get out of here, you could, if you want to shout out anything else that you're doing off the field that may be away from football, entrepreneurial. Like you said, you got bills to pay, and I'll not tell people what you got going on.
Yeah, so me and my partner, Ezel Hunter, shout out Easy let me spell it out on Instagram. EAZY the THA Barber, BARBER on Instagram. My partner Ezel. We got our shop. We've been running since 2017. Made it through COVID. Thank God. We work hard. 397 Park Avenue in Piscataway. I also have Cuts by Bergs, which is my mobile barbershop. I created it in 2024. I didn't get a chance to really roll it out because I've been so busy with coaching football, and now I'm kind of getting some free time. But it's a fully functional mobile barbershop. We got a TV in there, music, fireplace, got a bar in there, little refrigerator. You know what I mean? You can have a cocktail if you're of age, private service. I'm going to roll out the menu for that. Me and my guy Easy will be probably running that. We do celeb haircuts. I used to cut for the Eagles. Easy's currently cutting Carl Towns. So when you see him with that fresh taper, just know that's coming from your boys. Shout out my man again, Easy the Barber. Also, too, that's what I got in motion right now. I'm not sure what's going on with coaching. What's the next move?
Okay.
I don't know if I take a year off. Me and my cousin been talking. We thinking about coaching together. But I also been talking to my buddy Ray Gross, who was coaching at Plainfield, good friend of mine. And we're thinking about possibly doing a podcast to accentuate the old GMC or the BCC as it states now, a podcast that could really accent those players. We feel like we're not really getting represented. I know the level of football has dropped a little bit, but I think it's because they're not really getting highlighted. And I want to highlight them. I want to try to do something. So be on the lookout for that if that comes about. But I lastly want to give a shout out to you, man. I don't know. I know you got your podcast, and I don't know if everybody knows your story, but tremendously strong, brother. I know, dealing with the loss of your mother, that took a toll on you. But
thank you.
seeing what you've done with going to junior college, walking on the Rutgers, actually making the team. And I remember when you said you was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't easy, man. It costs money. Like, people don't know that. Like, you're funding yourself through school. You're trying to make your schedule fit around football practice.
Sure enough, yeah.
You're trying to make it there. You're not really getting the same food and the meal plans that everybody's getting, but you're trying to make it work. You know what I mean? And you still, you know, you're not getting that stipend check like these other jokers is getting.
Right.
Back then there was no NIL, but we know they was getting the stipends or the rebate, whatever that was that you get.
Right.
But you always had that spirit of if it's something you want to do, you're gonna go get it. Now, I watched you do your fitness. I watched you do your I guess you want to call it your entertainment side. You know, meeting some celebs, putting yourself out there, and we talk about that like earlier. A lot of guys is afraid to put themselves out there, especially we talking about on camera, on Instagram, to millions and billions of people. And so I want to salute you for that, and just coming here and seeing what you got going on, man. You know, a lot of people would say like, "Yo, he too old. What are you doing?" But you know, success is right beyond that door for you. I see it because you're not afraid to step out there, and so that's something I'm kind of taking from you. Something I want to give to the kids.
Yeah.
Just put yourself out there and just keep going, man, because you never know, man. You in football. What do we say? You're one injury away from starting, and you're one injury away from your career being over. So what does that tell you? If you're one injury away, you might as well play. You're gonna get injured, whatever. Somebody gonna get injured.
Right.
You know what I mean?
True.
So it's the same thing in this entrepreneurial world. You know, you're one action away from your thoughts from being a millionaire. And you're one negative thought on your actions away from being away from millions.
Right.
So just take the action, man. Put yourself out there.
That's what it is, man. Burger in the house.
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
to come back. Welcome to come back with Coach if you need to. And hey, like you said, put yourself out there. You know, Middlesex County needs to be highlighted. I will put my stamp on it, that the brand of football that I grew up in, because I'll say I'm originally from East Orange, and I
Me too.
And you know, I went to Scott and all that stuff, but when I got to, you know, Perth Amboy, and I played around some of the people. I was in the gym the other day with some of the brothers that I used to rock out with, and I'm like, I remember telling them like, yo, it's some nice dudes at JUCO, you know. This guy's going to Miami. This guy's going to South Carolina. This guy's going to North Carolina State. This guy's going to Michigan State, West Virginia. It's all in there. And I was like, yo, I know y'all could play there. And so, and that was just on my team, not even the players that I played against that I know were great.
Yeah.
That brought something different to the game, that made you work for it, that made me want to be better. That shit, and for all that intents and purposes, I would have never had a chance to walk on at Rutgers if I didn't have film against these people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so that, with that being said, man, I think that's a dope idea. I'll support it in whatever way I can. Thank you for coming tonight, and this is gonna be out soon. So make sure y'all stay tapped in. House of Boom podcast. Burger, you know, he's everywhere. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's where he's supposed to be, but he's everywhere.
Y'all follow me on Instagram at BABYBURGZ, Baby Bergs.
Baby Bergs.
Follow me on Instagram. You can see everything.
And the crazy thing is, a little snippet before, we are first generation Facebook, first generation Instagram.
Yep.
I think that pretty much been your name the whole time. So it's crazy.
Keep it simple.
It ain't hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It ain't hard to find. So, you know, whatever it is you need from him, he got it.
You're going to make this go viral, too.
Yep.
Maybe Rutgers will give me a job.
Yeah, maybe. With that being said, this is the House of Boom podcast. Let me switch the camera over to me. This is the House of Boom podcast. I don't know. Call this an emergency episode. Whatever you want to call it. And we out. Peace.